We're gonna ignore the fact that it's November. Hello Martians, I'm Shiva, also known as Sprinkles, and today we're going to be talking about creative stuff, and I'm gonna try not to ramble, but I'm probably gonna ramble anyway because I'm a rambler. So I've come to the realization that creative people kind of like super ultra suck at seeing their own progression. Like, clearly you're not gonna be able to see yourself improve the way you want to see yourself improve because I don't know why. Like, when you're looking at your own stuff objectively, you really just don't see what you're doing or how you've done it or anything better that you've done with it, and it's like a plague. Or like, I don't use the word brain rot often, but it's like literally brain rot, and I think that's kind of like the issue, right? I feel like the issue is that you're just like a little too close to like your project to see that you've improved. And so you need to take a step back, but like sometimes you don't really understand that you need to take that step back, right? And so like the reason I want to talk about this today is because I have not been feeling like super good about what I've been drawing lately, and it always happens after like the Drawtober season, because it's like, can I get some creativity? And it's like, creativity machine broke, and you just kind of gotta freak yourself with it because there's nothing you can do about it. If you try to push past it, then you're gonna end up with like the world's worst art block that has ever graced anybody, you think. But also, it's kind of the time to update the video diary. This video was supposed to be uploaded on Halloween, so that would have marked 8 years of trying to keep up with how I'm drawing, albeit a very inconsistent 8 years, but still 8 years nonetheless. And so I decided it's finally time to update the video diary of my, I guess it's a video sketchbook, digital sketchbook, video sketchbook, I don't know. It doesn't matter what I call it, because I'm not going to call it the same thing twice. That's just a given. My brain has already forgotten what I said originally. And before I get too further into the video, I believe this picture is like day, I want to say, God, I can't remember. It's like day 18 of the Drawtober prompt. And it's the prompt is Scary Witch. So I drew a witch as scary as I felt like. Her sisters before her are much scarier. But this one, I wanted to have a little bit more of an elegant feel to her while still being kind of like unnatural. Anyways, onto the topic at hand. My brain is constipated and it's currently wallowing in its own self-appointed pit of despair because I am not seeing improvement. I look at this picture, I look at the things I drew last year, and all sorts of other things, and I think I found my cozy corner as far as art goes, and I'm like, I don't want to leave this corner. I'm going to stay right here. And then I look, and I feel like I haven't gone anywhere, and it's like, oh, damn, I should probably leave the corner. But then I don't, because I set up shop there. I've got my snacks and my blankets and my pillows, and I'm going to live there for a while. But then I realized that there's the rest of the house, but I'm still sitting in this corner, right? Weird analogy aside, what I'm talking about is the fact that I feel like I have stagnated a little bit, and looking at this picture that I drew here and the picture that I drew 8 years ago really helped me get past that little hump. And like, I get it, because like every creative reaches this part in their creative journey at least 11 times, and it sucks when you get there. And I feel like one of the reasons that people get there is because of a lack of seeing progress. See, I got back on track. Anyways, so when you look at your creative process and you think that you've been doing the same thing over and over again, you haven't really changed much, you don't really see that you've actually done yourself a major service of improvement, because it's kind of hard for you to see it because you're like so close to it. You don't see it, but everyone else sees it around you. I feel like art's a little different, because if you don't draw and you look at somebody that can draw, everything that they do is amazing because you can't draw and they can. And so you're like, oh, this is awesome. And they're like, this is trash. But that's the same thing with like art progress. Like, you look at it and you're like, I don't see anything. And so I think it's better with like other people that do creative stuff, and they look at it and they're like, oh wow, you've gotten really good. And you're like, I have? Really? I don't see anything, but if you say so, I guess I don't have a choice but to believe you. And you can outright call them a liar if you want to, but the fact of the matter is, they're not wrong. You have improved, and it's kind of easier to see it if you step back. If you step back, take a break, do anything else. If you have multiple creative endeavors, that is the best way to take a step back. Like when I couldn't see myself improving with my drawing, I picked up knitting again, and I made a bunch of sweaters, I made some scarves, I made some tank tops, I crocheted some stuffed animals, and then when I went back to drawing and looked at a picture that I drew before I got back into my other hobbies, and then looked at this one, I was like, oh damn, I really did improve. Well, how do you like that? And then you just kind of like feel good about yourself because you're like, hell yeah, I did the thing. And it's cool to look back at your art and see how well you've improved. And I like looking back quite often, and I encourage other people to look back too at your past creative endeavors. But also don't look back too often, because if you're like me and you look back at your old art, at the stuff that you really liked, that the stuff that you were like, I am a god at this, then that leads to like a different kind of burnout, because you're looking at your old stuff and you're like, wow, this is still amazing even today, and then you're like, I will never be able to do this again, which isn't true. Like, you can, and you can do better, but you gotta have like a fine balance. And I don't think any creative person has ever come across that fine balance of looking back and moving forward, or looking forward while staying true to your original self. And I always like looking at the progress of art, and I had like this really weird skewed vision of art. Like, I thought that being better at art meant that I would like draw more realistically instead of drawing cartoonishly, instead of being better in my cartoonish style. Like, it was very weird that I thought that, and I do draw realistically. Like, I have drawn in the past, and I kind of like my realistic stuff. I'd like to get back into it, but progress is different for everyone, and just because you see other people progress in a different way compared to how you want to progress doesn't mean you haven't improved, right? It doesn't mean that you haven't gone anywhere. It just means that you've improved in a completely different direction that they've improved, and they may look at your stuff and they're like, wow, they've really improved, and you just have to take their word for it like they got to take your word for it. And progression is one of those things that you have to like consistently remind yourself and others, if you're trying to be like inspirational force, is that progression is not linear. You're not going to go A to Z. You're going to go A to 11 to 6 to 4 to B to C to D to A to G to 12. And it's okay. That's how progression works. And you know, if you lie to yourself, the struggle is half the fun. But I'm kind of happy with how everything turned out with this picture compared to the first picture I drew, because it really helped me see that, yeah, I have grown as an artist and I have gotten better, and it's cool to see where I am now, and I can't wait to see where I'll be later. But anyways, that's all I want to talk about. I wonder if this made sense. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're into that sort of thing, and I'll just see you all in the next one. Bye bye.